This is Caring for Kids on News Talk 760 WJR, presented by the Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation. And here's your host, President and CEO of the Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation, Larry Burns.
Thanks, Mark, and hello, everyone, and welcome to Caring for Kids, where we discuss a variety of issues concerning the health and wellness of children, locally, regionally, and nationally. And tonight we have a great show. We're going to start with Luanne Ewald, CEO of our Children's Hospital of Michigan, and Amy Wyckoff, mother of the family that was selected to attend this year's Family Advocacy Day in Washington, D.C. Tonya Klein, founder of the new nonprofit organization Healing Kids Foundation, will join us, and Brett Tillander, the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Oakland and Macomb counties. It's all coming up next on Caring for Kids, right here on the great voice of the Great Lakes, News Talk 760 WJR.
It's Caring for Kids with Larry Burns.
Welcome back, everyone. Larry Burns here, Caring for Kids, and in the studio we have Luanne Ewald and Amy Wyckoff. Let me tell you a little bit about Children's Advocacy Day. The Children's Hospital Association organizes an annual Speak Now for Kids Family Advocacy Day. It's in Washington, D.C., as I mentioned. And this event provides an extremely well-organized opportunities for patients and families of children's hospitals to visit their members of Congress to help create awareness about the needs of our chronically ill children. Through a grant provided by our Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation, the Wyckoff family was afforded the opportunity to attend this day with our great CEO, Luanne Ewald, and we wanted to talk about their experiences. So, ladies, welcome.
Thank you.
And so, Luanne, talk a little bit about the annual Speak Now for Kids Family Advocacy Day. I know you've participated in the past, and so I think our listeners kind of want to know about that general effort nationally, and then we'll talk to Amy about the experience.
Absolutely. So there are children's hospitals from all over the country that come together for Advocacy Day, and we run around Capitol Hill for 48 hours. That's all we do, and we meet with our state's delegation on the topics that are important to our families dealing with health issues in the state of Michigan. So we obviously represented Michigan, and our focus really was on the Children's Hospital Graduate Medical Education Bill, which was up for reauthorization. So we brought the Wyckoffs with us because they were such an amazing family while their daughter Claire was going through her health issues, and Amy will talk to you a little bit about that. But you know, I go to Washington a couple times a year to talk to our delegation, and I have to tell you, this time going with Claire, she clearly was a superstar because we met people and got to see things that I never get to see on my own.
Right. And I assume that our elected officials had a warm reception for Claire and Amy and you.
They absolutely did. We were in their private quarters. We had very in-depth conversations with Debbie Stabenow.
Right. She was a guest of this show recently.
She was. Yep. And Debbie Dingle.
Debbie's been a guest as well.
Absolutely. So we're following your lead.
Right. Well, we're a team.
And we are. And they welcomed us with open arms, and Claire and her family told their story and the importance of Children's Hospital and all of the specialists that helped with Claire's care. And, Representative Fred Upton actually invited us into the Energy and Commerce hearing.
Okay. That had to be cool.
It was awesome,
Yep.
and he actually gave a shout out to Claire during the meeting. So just an amazing experience for all of us.
Wonderful. And I have to reiterate what makes our children's hospital special, as it does other children's hospitals, is the subspecialists, the residents, which is impacted by the graduate medical education.
Yes.
And that's really in the research that's done at a children's hospital like ours. So
absolutely, and that funding is so important. And actually, they reauthorized the bill
wonderful.
a couple weeks after
Good.
we left
Well,
for $325
we'll give
million.
Claire credit for that.
That I'm giving Claire complete
Yes.
credit.
Yes.
Yeah, she won over their hearts, which
Good.
is very important.
Well, that's how it should be.
Yes.
So Amy Wyckoff, welcome to Caring for Kids.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
And before this interview, we got to see Paul W. Smith. So I hear your mom was a big fan.
Huge fan. She would
So
love
that's
that.
cool.
Thank you.
And so, as a mom, as mom of Claire, tell us about your experience and what it meant to you and Claire.
So going to DC was such a whirlwind. And we kind of warned Claire at the beginning, this is going to be a lot of work, but it's so worth it to meet all these people and let them know how important this bill will be for everyone. And we feel it's important to be a voice for all the kids that don't have the opportunity to be a voice.
Right.
We met a lot of great families at Children's Hospital and met a lot of really strong warrior kids there. And so Claire knew the importance of speaking out on their behalf. And so we see 3 specialists in particular at Children's Hospital, a neurosurgeon, a urologist, and PM&R who we adore and love. And they saved her life and gave her back the quality of her life, helped her with therapies and treatments to strengthen her quality of life. So it was very important for us to go to Washington and see all the great things. It was new for my son, my daughter, and I. My husband had already been there when he was younger, but I mean, we were on the balcony of the Capitol building overlooking the mall. I mean, it was
That's
amazing.
pretty special. Yeah.
It was amazing.
And I was sort of following you guys via social media. Luanne is wonderful at that, as well as the Children's Hospital Association is really good at that too. So I love the group picture
That was great.
of all the kids from all over the country. That was really cool. So tell us a little bit more, Amy Wyckoff, about Claire's story and why Children's Hospital of Michigan has been such an important part of her getting well.
So as a 10-year-old, strong 10-year-old girl who loved activities and loved being, active and playing around with her friends, she was just a normal girl. And one day she was trying out for a play, and her and her friend were goofing around and did a cartwheel. And that night she came home and she's like, Mom, my arm really hurts. And we thought it was a pulled muscle.
Sure.
The next night she was in excruciating pain. We took her to prompt care. We took her to one of the local larger hospitals who did an x-ray, determined there was nothing wrong. We gave her some Motrin, and off we went. By that Sunday, her right arm was turning up, and she was dragging her right leg, so we knew it was neurological. The next day, we took her to her pediatrician, who assessed her and said, it's really important you take her to Children's Hospital, and so we did. And it was determined, not that day, but the next day, that she had an AVM, which is an arteriovenous malformation, which in really layman's terms is an aneurysm that ruptured into her spinal cord in the cervical spine. And so nerves don't like blood, and so her body started shutting down. And she was essentially starting to lose abilities in her right side, losing the normal bodily functions. And then it was determined that they were going to do surgery to remove it, and we started from scratch. She was basically paralyzed, no bowel or bladder function, and we stayed at Children's Hospital for 2 months.
Wow.
And they rallied around her.
Wonderful. How's Claire doing now?
She's great. She's walking with a cane. I mean, she went from a wheelchair to a walker, now walking with a cane.
Good.
Yep. And she works very hard twice a week at therapy, and she's looking forward to school.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Great stories. Luanne, these stories probably make you feel really good even when you have tough days.
Absolutely. It is these stories that really do help us get through the tough days. To see, Claire was helping us with the Gleaners cereal drive.
Right.
And when
we just made a grant to
You
Gleaners
did.
for milk for cereal.
You did. And
Yes.
Claire went to her community and raised a ton of cereal, and she physically came and dropped it off, and she walked towards me.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes you smile.
It's amazing.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Awesome. So these are the stories from Children's Hospital of Michigan that makes our job really worthwhile. And Amy, it's so great to see you.
Thank you.
Smiling, and we love Claire and look forward to highlighting her progress as she goes forward.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Luanne, I know there's a lot of construction that's been going on at your hospital. It's almost done. So tell our listeners about this exciting news.
It is almost done. We are looking forward to a grand opening in October. A lot of the units, like the neonatal intensive care unit and the pediatric intensive care unit and the emergency room, have been open for almost a year. But we are completing our operating rooms and our wonderful, big, new, beautiful lobby.
Yeah,
which
I had a sneak preview.
I know. Amy had one last night,
Yeah.
too.
Did, isn't it gorgeous?
You could play like a football game in there.
You could.
It's so big. It's awesome.
As it should be.
As it should be.
So we're looking for an end of October grand opening and getting all the construction trucks out of the way, and the staff will be happy, and the physicians will be happy, and the patients will be happy.
And part of that great lobby will be an interactive display that will allow kids and their families to have some fun while they're in the lobby, and we're raising money for that. So if anybody is listening and they want to personally or have their company support that, be recognized, and for the whole community to see that you care about kids, then just give me a shout out. And so we're working on that with Erica Gerson, your chairman of the board. So,
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
So ladies, thank you. And we will keep our listeners aware of how Claire does. And I look forward to working with both of you in the days, months, and years ahead.
Thank you.
Thank
Great.
you, Larry.
You're welcome. Thank you. That was the CEO of Children's Hospital of Michigan, Luanne Ewald, and this year's Family Advocacy Day guest and mother of Claire, Amy Wyckoff. And coming up next, we're going to hear from the founder of Healing Kids Foundation. That's Tonya Klein. When Caring for Kids continues here on the great voice of the Great Lakes, News Talk 760 WJR.
Welcome back to Caring for Kids on WJR, presented by the Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation.
Tonya Klein is the founder of the Healing Kids Foundation. Prior to starting the Healing Kids Foundation, Tonya worked in sales and education in the beauty industry as an account manager for L'Oreal Professional. Later on, after transition into the social work field, her passion to help people and their communities began. That passion was further ignited when her husband, Dr. Justin Klein, one of our former guests of the show, completed his pediatric surgery fellowship working with children with burn injuries. Learning about what burn patients endure began her path to creating what is now known as Healing Kids Foundation. Tonya Klein, welcome to Caring for Kids.
Thank you so much, Larry. It's an honor to be here.
Well, it's great to see you. We enjoy working with you, and tell our listeners about the Healing Kids Foundation and what you're up to and what you hope to achieve.
Sure. So the Healing Kids Foundation is a nonprofit charity that is designed to help pediatric burn survivors through the Children's Hospital of Michigan. We aim to promote burn awareness and prevention in Detroit and the surrounding cities.
Awesome. And we're getting started as a partnership with the Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation.
Yes.
So we're delighted to have you part of our family, if you will. And so I mentioned in the intro a little bit about your husband and his great work at Children's Hospital, Dr. Justin Klein. And how did you begin to formulate the idea of creating a foundation versus just, wanting to help from time to time?
Sure. So in 2014, Justin was going through his pediatric surgery fellowship, and he would come home and talk about some of his cases. In pediatric surgery, specifically with the pediatric surgeons at Children's, they do burn surgery, which is unique. A lot of children's hospitals don't do burn surgeries. It's an adult surgeon that does the burn surgeries. So he would talk about the cases, and just really learning what these burn survivors go through struck something in me to want to help. And I didn't know, so that was 4 years ago when he was going through fellowship, and I didn't know how I wanted to help. I had a lot of different ideas. I came up with superhero boxes that I would deliver maybe to the hospital for the kids. And then it just really evolved more kind of like a depth. I wanted to help in a bigger capacity.
Yeah, in a consistent, bigger, strategic capacity.
For sure.
Yeah.
And really, children who go through burn surgery, there are a lot of things that they need post-operatively and in outpatient care, like burn dressings and wound care and pressure garments that are critical for post-operative success. And insurance companies don't cover those costs. So that was really one of the things that struck something in me to want to help and start a foundation, as well as looking at to sending children to burn camp. There's an amazing burn camp in Jackson, Michigan, called the Great Lakes Burn Camp. And as well, another big component that these burn survivors go through are mental health issues. There's a lot of undiagnosed post-traumatic stress, as you can imagine,
I can imagine.
for the burn survivors and their families. And so that's another vision for the foundation to help in that capacity.
Excellent. That's great. We're talking with Tonya Klein, founder of Healing Kids Foundation, helping burn patients at Children's Hospital Michigan and beyond. And so the partnership with our foundation, the Children's Hospital Michigan Foundation, how did that occur? How did you find us?
Sure. So, of course, hearing wonderful things about the foundation through Justin and other people as well that I'm close to. When looking at starting a foundation, because I haven't had nonprofit experience starting one anyway, I reached out to the foundation earlier this year, and actually it was almost 2 years ago. It was before you came on board.
Before I arrived,
CEO.
right?
Yeah, and the foundation wasn't doing as many partnerships.
Right.
And so when you came on board, I had heard that you were starting more partnerships, and so I took the chance to reach out, and we met in March, and I'm very blessed to be partnered with you and your team.
Well, great. We're so happy that you found us, and it's a perfect example of what we're evolving into. Is more of a community foundation for children. So you're right that maybe 2 years ago this partnership wouldn't have happened.
Sure.
But it's happening now. You have your own logo. You have your own brand. You're running these events that we're going to talk about in a minute. And we're there to help you. We're there to support you, to serve in any way we can. And it's a great example, if there's listeners out there that want to partner with our foundation, that Tonya is leading the way as a pioneer in this. So great example. So thank you.
Thank you.
So let's talk about your first event coming up in September.
Yes. So it's called the Superhero Dash. It's actually not a race, but we just kind of did a play off of having children and families come to an event that we have inflatable obstacle courses. We will have a superhero food truck. We have a photo selfie station. There's going to be a DJ, lots of family-friendly games.
Right.
And so we're looking to have an amazing time to support these burn survivors and really bring the community out as well.
Good. So tell us where it's going to be and when it is.
Sure. So it's going to be at Belle Isle.
Belle Isle.
At
Beautiful.
their sports complex field.
Okay.
And it's on Sunday, September 23rd.
Okay. Weather will be very nice.
Yes, hopefully.
Yes.
Fingers
Yes,
crossed.
right.
Yeah. So the first hour, it starts at 10 a.m. for burn survivors and their families only.
Only, okay.
So there's a VIP hour from 10 to 11. And then ticketed attendees will come starting at 11, and it goes until 2 p.m. We have a superhero food truck, and it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, so can't wait to go.
Thanks.
And one of the other things I found out recently about you is you were an author. You wrote a children's book.
I did.
So, wow. Tell us about that.
So I'm calling it Healing Heroes to the Rescue.
That makes sense.
And Justin and I have almost 3-year-old little girl.
Right.
And
who's beautiful, by the way.
well, thank you so much. So I've read to Helena, or we have read to Helena since the night she was born. And just over the last few years of reading several children's board books, you get into a pattern of rhyming. With the Burn charity and just my passion for wanting to help from an outside perspective, it just hit me actually a couple weeks ago. And I sat down, and it's a pattern book, so it rhymes. And it goes through different burn prevention scenarios. And when I started the Healing Kids Foundation, the graphic designer that did my logo also did Healing Hero Superheroes for the foundation as well. And so the book actually has the healing heroes helping the children understand burn prevention through the course of the book.
Right.
So,
awesome. Can't wait to see it.
Well,
and we're happy to help in any way we can.
Thank you.
And if you promise not to tell anyone,
Yes.
we're in the midst of creating our own superhero mascot for the foundation.
I love it.
And once he or she, we're not sure what it's going to be, we're going to have probably a naming contest with social media, right, Jill?
Correct. Cool.
And so we're excited about that. And then our new friend, mascot, can attend all your events as a superhero.
I love it.
For the foundation.
That's exciting.
So as long as you don't tell anyone, we'll announce that when it's appropriate.
Sounds good.
So in 5 years, 10 years, where would you like to see your Healing Foundation?
Well, hoping through awareness and prevention, we don't have many burn injuries. But as you know, just like in any incident or accident, there will be, unfortunately. But hopefully, we have a lot less.
Yes, absolutely.
Because over 1,100 children die each year from burn-related injuries. So it's a staggering statistic.
Right.
So with burn injury, it can be a lifelong journey to recovery.
Right.
There's a lot of psychologically, emotionally components to healing. They can have a social disconnectedness component as well. So my vision is to help in every aspect that we can to provide a community of connectedness and support for every survivor.
Good. And all of those things fall into our focus areas: mental health, wellness, prevention. All of those are things that we're going to be working on in the community with you and with others for a long, long time. So we'll be with you from now and until the foreseeable future.
Well, thank you.
So thank you. Look forward to your first event on September 22nd.
23rd.
23rd.
Yes,
Come
Sunday.
on, Larry, get it right.
Yes, that's
September 23rd at Belle Isle, 10 to 2.
11 to 2 for attendees.
Oh, that's right.
For ticketed attendees.
How am I doing? I'm not doing
That's
very
all right.
well. But it's on our website and your website.
It is,
And how do
yes.
people find your website?
So our website is healingkidsfoundation.com.
healingkidsfoundation.com.
And you can like us on Facebook and Twitter. Follow us on
All
Twitter
right,
as well.
good. Awesome. We'll put that on our website and we'll tweet that out. So, Tonya Klein, thank you very much for what you're doing, and your husband is wonderful. And
Thank you.
when you see him again, thank him for all the great work he does.
I will. Thank you so
Every day
much.
he does that. So, coming up next, we're going to hear from one of our new grantees, Brett Tillander. Brett is the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Oakland and Macomb counties. That's when Caring for Kids continues here on the great voice of the Great Lakes. News Talk 760 WJR.
Welcome back to Caring for Kids on WJR. Presented by the Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation. Once again, here's Larry Burns.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. Larry Burns here, Caring for Kids. Glad you're with us. And our next guest is Brett Tillander. Brett is the Chief Executive Officer of the Boys and Girls Club of Oakland and Macomb counties. In 2001, Brett began his appointment as CEO, marking nearly 20 years in nonprofit work. Under Brett's leadership, the Boys and Girls Club of Oakland and Macomb counties has been recognized as a leader in youth development, focused on educational outcomes, health and wellness efforts, and strength-based leadership development. All great things. Prior to returning to the club, Brett served as Senior Director of Communications and Advocacy for the American Heart Association Midwest Affiliate and Director of Development and Marketing for the Catholic Social Services of Oakland County. Brett is a Michigan State University graduate, a Spartan, and is dedicated his professional and personal life in serving organizations committed to changing and influencing the lives of individuals, particularly youth, in greatest need. So, Brett, welcome to Caring for Kids.
Larry, glad to be here with you.
We're delighted to have you here as a new grantee. That even makes it more special. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But let's talk in particular about the Boys and Girls Club and what your organization in today's world does, some of the focus areas, because I think our listeners may be familiar with the name, but maybe not familiar with actually what you do.
Sure. We're fortunate to be heading into our 60th anniversary this September, and our organization started in Royal Oak as a little log cabin, and it's the beauty about Boys and Girls Clubs. It's how they got started, and several hundred years ago with 3 women in Hartford, Connecticut that decided there needed to be a safe place for kids to go in Hartford.
Yes.
And in Royal Oak, the same thing happened 60 years ago. And the beauty of Boys and Girls Clubs is the opportunity to be exceptionally responsive to the communities that we serve. And while we started out based in Royal Oak, we now serve 2 counties through 4 locations.
Right.
Boys and girls ages 6 to 18 years of age, and our annual membership fee is $50 a year. And it allows them to participate in a variety of programs, whether we're focused on academic success or healthy minds and healthy hearts, which is what has us here today, and also developing a great connection civically and developing leadership skills and strong character for our next generations.
Great. We're talking with Brett Tillander from Boys and Girls Club of Oakland, Macomb counties. So you mentioned the different locations. Can you quickly just sort of say where they are in each of those communities?
Sure. We, of course, started in Royal Oak, as I mentioned, and then we're also in Ferndale. We opened there in 2006 due to a woman, a professional at Ferndale schools that used to see kids sit outside of Ferndale High School with no place to go in the winter and wait for a ride and temperatures that nobody should be outside for. And she wrote a $500 grant, Larry.
Really?
Because she wanted to be able to make a program
God bless
happen.
her. God bless her.
That $500 we were able to match into a full-fledged unit in Ferndale in 06. And then in 2011 we opened in Southfield at the Civic Center, partnered with what was the Field Zone. And they were an innovative idea that needed a development strategy. And now we operate that as a full Boys and Girls Club at the Civic Center. And then in Washington Township, we had
Macomb County, right?
Yep, Macomb County. Yep. And we opened there as well.
Okay, great. Ferndale special to us because our own Dave Coulter, who's Director of External Affairs, is the mayor of Ferndale when he's not working for the foundation. He does a great job helping that city be a great city in America. So the fact that the Boys and Girls Club is in Ferndale makes it even better. A better city. Right, Dave? Dave is here, so he agrees. And so the Children's Hospital Michigan Foundation, I mentioned, recently granted a grant to your organization, and it's called Connect Today. And tell our listeners a little bit about that and sort of how that came about.
You know, the opportunity to have the funding so that we're able to implement Connect Today has a real-time impact. Yesterday, Larry, I had 3 different Boys and Girls Club members who presented at 2 of our different locations to our staff dealing with significant issues of depression. And you've been leading here in the region, pulling together the mental health community, youth-serving agencies, educational institutions to talk about this gap when it comes to mental health services for youth. And the foundation has led on this issue, and we know why it's important because more than 50% of kids who are in need of mental health services do not receive treatment, don't have access to it. And through your support for the Boys and Girls Clubs of Oakland and Macomb counties, we'll now be able to deliver mental health services to all 4 of our locations to those kids who need it most and their families. And yesterday was a great example of that, where 2 club members and out of the 3 went directly to a staff member privately and said that they were dealing with significant issues, challenges that they were
and they did that on their own. They did that on their own.
That's the good thing about Boys and Girls Clubs. Our staff members have really good, strong relationships with the club members, and they can trust that relationship, and then that in turn can allow us to be able to bring the resources and services to them that they need help with. And in one of those cases, you know, one of the parents, she was not as receptive at first. She actually didn't think that there was an issue. And then once we were able to go deeper with her yesterday, it became very clear to her that their child had a real need and a willingness to be able to say, okay, what can we do and how can we help you with that?
So, well, that's so very important. And part of the education, from my experience, is educating parents that in this case, the young person sort of identified themselves, but many times the parents are saying, "Oh, my son's great, he's fine, he's just whatever," and so that's a great example of what we're trying to do. And working with you, we're going to do some really good things.
And it'll change lives. I mean, we know that when young people are not treated early on, when it comes to mental health, the way that plays out in their adult life often is that they medicate. We have issues around alcohol use. We have issues around drug abuse. The pain and the challenge of mental health, if we bring those services to them when they're younger, eliminates huge costs and huge negative impact on communities across the state. And I appreciate the leadership that you've brought and that the board has brought from the foundation to be able to bring resources not only to the Boys and Girls Club, but so many around this issue.
Yeah, and actually introducing other organizations to each other, and hopefully we'll work together. And we're talking with Brett Tillander from Boys and Girls Club of Oakland and Macomb counties. We're talking about a new grant that our foundation made called Connect Today. And so, Brett, what are some of the other things that you're hoping that you're able to do with the generous support from others in your locations over the next few years? What's on your agenda?
Well, we're really focused on bringing the programs and services that we're known for and being able to deliver to the kids that we serve and have for 60 years now to communities who need us most. There is tremendous need both in, throughout the region where we believe that we are positioned to be able to bring much needed services. Whether you look at a community like Pontiac that has 11% of kids who are literate at the third grade level, tremendous need in a number of communities. And as an organization, our board and our club is focused on bringing those services to communities that are in great need.
Yeah, excellent, and you're doing a great job. So I read recently, I think in Cranes, that there were some changes in one of the in the Boys and Girls Club of Southeastern Michigan, and we have some name confusion with our name. And so I thought maybe I'd give you an opportunity to explain the relationship, if there is any, with that organization.
Sure, and like you mentioned, like with children's, the same type of confusion that can occur there. And for us, we're very pleased with what's happening at the Boys and Girls Clubs of Southeastern Michigan. Tremendous leadership that's in place, a board that's focused on growing and servicing the community that they serve. They're in the process of really focusing those resources and efforts. There's 3 Boys and Girls Club corporations in the region: Boys and Girls Club of Troy, the Boys and Girls Clubs of Southeastern Michigan, and the Boys and Girls Clubs of Oakland and Macomb.
All right,
counties.
So yours, and then 2 others that would be family members, kind of, to the...
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All under the same umbrella, not under the same corporate structure,
right,
but certainly focused on the right mission in the right places.
Yeah, and so as you know, when we met, I was involved with the Boys and Girls Club of Toledo for 25 years. Dave Wermeister and one of my best friends right now is his chairman, Kevin O'Neill. And they do great things in Toledo. And so when I came here and had the opportunity to meet you, it was like it was making me feel like I'm doing the right thing, and very impressed with your organization as well.
Thank you so much, Larry.
You're welcome. Anything else you want our listeners to know about what you're doing in Oakland and Macomb County regarding mental health or anything else that's going on?
Well, I think that it's really important for folks to know that through our organization, families who are looking for a safe place and a place where their young people their children, grandkids, can find a safe and enriching atmosphere that can happen through the Boys and Girls Club. And also, this, as we move into the school year, we've just closed out the summer capacity. Yep. This school year, we're in need of tremendous need of volunteers who are willing to help kids academically. And
so mentors type.
Absolutely. We call them academic mentors.
Okay.
They meet weekly, and they don't have to know new math. They just have to know how to show up and care.
Yeah, I would qualify. I didn't do well in math. And so how do people connect with you? Is there an easy way?
Easiest place is to go to our website, which is www.boysandgirlsclubs.us, and you can connect with any of our 4 locations there, and we'd love to have your support.
So that's easy. Yeah, and we'll put that on our Caring for Kids website as well.
Thank you so much.
Brett, you're doing great work. Look forward to hearing about how the success of the new grant is, and hopefully we're just getting started being partners.
Appreciate that so much.
Thank you very much. That was the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club of Oakland and Macomb counties, Brett Tillander. And stay tuned. because I have some announcements about some events coming up for the Children's Hospital Michigan Foundation and this month's Little Champion of the Game, sponsored by Northwestern Mutual. It's when Caring for Kids continues, right here on the great voice of the Great Lakes, News Talk 760 WJR.
It's Caring for Kids with Larry Burns.
Welcome back, everyone. Larry Burns here, Caring for Kids. We had some great guests tonight. Some folks from the Children's Hospital, some folks helping the Children's Hospital burn unit, and the CEO of the Boys and Girls Club doing great work, particularly in the mental health arena. And that we're all part of that. So we're very proud to be part of working with all these great organizations. We also have an event coming up on August 29th. One of our partners, Racing for Kids. It's in Grosse Pointe Farms on the hill, they call it, shopping area in Grosse Pointe Farms. It's from 6 to 9 p.m. It's a great event, one of my favorite events of the year, and that raises money for Racing for Kids, which all goes toward helping kids at Children's Hospital of Michigan through our Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation. And one of our own very little champions, one of our own little champions will be named the 2018 Courageous Kid Award, Kathleen Sovereign. We're delighted, and she'll be there with her family, I'm sure. That's August 29th, Racing for Kids in Grosse Pointe Farms on the hill. And the Little Champion of the Month is now sponsored, as I announced last month, by Northwestern Mutual. So thank you very much, Brian Dugan and others at that great organization. The Little Champion program honors children who have overcome major obstacles in their young lives, and they continue to tackle those challenges with a smile each and every day. And this month's champion is 1-year-old Andrew from Dearborn, Michigan. Andrew was born prematurely, and when he was 6 months old, he was diagnosed with liver cancer. But after 4 rounds of chemotherapy and an intense liver surgery, Andrew has shown how tough he is, and indeed he's a little champion, beating all odds on his road to recovery. So congratulations, Andrew, on being named this month's Little Champion. For more information on the Little Champion program and how you can nominate a child, visit chmfoundation.org. And it's easy to do because I just nominated a group of people as well, so I know how to do it. So I want to thank you for listening to Caring for Kids. This show is sponsored by the Children's Hospital Michigan Foundation. We're proud to do that, and we hope that you join us next month, which is Tuesday, September 25th at 7 p.m. Have a great month, great Labor Day, indeed.
Caring for Kids on WJR has been presented by the Children's Hospital of Michigan Foundation.